Lex is like, well, but see, he's got a little on the back, sir. I wore purple to that one.
I know.
Purple compassion and compassion.
Hey, Sergio.
Yes, Sergio.
Yeah, I'm not sure Eric's doing his own production. Eric, let's go. Is Tiffany coming? Eric, is there someone who can hold this so she can see it? Maybe this, maybe.
Oh no, you're good. You're good, girl.
Oh no,
It's Cherie. I'm Cherie. Yep.
I was going to share Cherie.
It's French, spelled just like that. Cherie. Cherie.
In about 30 seconds, as soon as we get Lexus here. Lexus! And then Eric, stand next to others. Hey, Lexus, come here, Lexus. Ready? You guys can hear? Good afternoon. My name is Andrew M. Stroth. I'm the Managing Director of Action Injury Law Group. It's a national civil rights law firm based in Chicago. Fortunate to be joined here today with my co-counsel, Stephen Hart, from Hart, McLaughlin, and Eldridge. Also joining us here today is Eric Russell, the American activist, Sergio and Matt Saratella from Vantius Investigations, and Cherie Berry and Alexis Berry are also here with us today, as well as Tiffany. I don't know, Tiffany, your last name?
Getz.
Tiffany Getz as well. On May 28th, the city of Davenport and this community experienced an unimaginable tragedy. What we know is that at 4:53 p.m., Peach and Lexus were relaxing in apartment number 411. You can see it behind us. Within a flash and within a moment, everything changed for Peach and Lexus. Peach was trapped inside the building from approximately 5 p.m. until 12:45 a.m. Both legs pinned, water, gas, concrete, complete chaos, while first responders struggled to save her life. Lexus, with a hard hat on and with others around her, took Lexus into the building to go see Peach at that moment. They didn't know if Peach was going to live. They were able to perform an on-site operation and save Peach, save her life. And at that time, first responders and the medical team had to amputate her left leg above the knee. And I want to just take a moment right now. This family, Lexus, her mother, Peach, want to thank first responders and the search and rescue crew that came that evening. We also want to especially thank Dr. Calvin Atwell. Dr. Atwell was the trauma orthopedic surgeon who did the operation on site. We want to thank Blake Friedman, who was also part of the medical team. In addition, other doctors, Dr. Rob Harson, Dr. Ryan Dunlay, and Dr. Carrie Stripling. We just left Genesis Health, and they are providing Peach with the best possible care, so we thank them. This young 24-year-old woman, Peach, experienced an unimaginable tragedy and suffered life-changing injuries. We just left her in her hospital room at Genesis East. She's lying in a hospital bed, her left leg amputated above the knee, and she sustained a 30-inch laceration on her right leg. I will tell you, Stephen Hart and I are humbled to represent Peach and Lexus. I'll quote what she just told us. With her faith in God, her faith in her wife, her faith in her family. She said, I may have lost my leg, but I still have my life.
Amen. Amen.
We are working with Peach and Lexis to make sure we get Peach the best possible medical treatment. And the reason we're standing here today is Stephen and I, about an hour and a half, 2 hours ago, filed a lawsuit against the responsible parties for this tragic incident. Today, what do we want? Why are we here? Well, Lexis will tell you. We want justice. Peach and Lexis want accountability and to hold the responsible parties, Mr. Andrew Wold, the engineers, the contractors, and others responsible for this tragic incident, as well as the city of Davenport. The city of Davenport was also aware and on notice regarding the problems at this building.
That's right.
All I will say is this owner and others put profits and money ahead of the health, sanctity, and well-being of the lives of the residents in that building. Look at the red dress in that building. That's Lex's apartment. That's Peach's apartment. In a moment, their life changed. This owner and others did not value the sanctity of life, and because of that, we are going to hold them responsible. And with that, I'll introduce you to my co-counsel, Stephen Hart.
Thank you, Andrew. My name is Stephen Hart with the law offices of Hart, McLaughlin, and Eldridge, and together with Andrew and Action Injury Law, we are humbled and proud to file a lawsuit on behalf of Lexis and Peach. This lawsuit was filed in Scott County State Court this morning. It's a multi-count complaint, an 80-page complaint, a substantive complaint addressing the harms and the injuries suffered by these two wonderful, beautiful, strong women enjoying their home on a holiday weekend without any notice that their quiet enjoyment of their home, which we're all entitled to, would be disrupted violently, tragically, and result in catastrophic injuries for which they will both suffer from for the rest of their lives. And so we're energized by the resolve and determination of Peach and Lexis. And we asked them, what are you looking for? What is important to you? And what they said is, we've been quiet too long. We've been pushed down too long. We've been taken advantage of too long. And it struck us as we fell 4 floors into a pile of rubble that it's time for someone to be held accountable. And so the defendants in this case preyed upon those with less financial means. And it was part of their calculus to do so, because they figured that these folks had no voice. And why did they do it? To put a few extra bucks in their pocket? Why did they leave someone's home in a condition that was unreasonably dangerous, that they knew about, for not just days or weeks or months, but for years upon years? This building that you see behind us was left unattended to, with no maintenance or little to no maintenance, in a horrible condition. And get this, folks, they knew about it.
Yes,
they knew full well that the condition of this building was unsafe. And you know how they knew about it? They were told time and time again. Within weeks of this building crumbling, they were advised by engineers that this building was in imminent risk of crumbling. Imminent risk. What would any reasonable person do when a building's in imminent risk of crumbling, they would want to save lives. Get the people out of that building. Evacuate the building. Warn them. Say you are at risk. If you want to live here, you're risking your life. Instead, what did they do? They deflected, they denied, they avoided telling anybody that lived in that building that their lives were at risk. And so what we've said in the complaint is this is callous behavior. This is reckless behavior. This is intentional behavior. And it's going to be met with scrutiny and accountability. And that's our pledge to Alexis, and that's our pledge to Peach. And I'll tell you, I'm astounded at the strength of these two women, at the resolve of these two women. Of all that they've been through, they're determined to see this through, determined to find the truth. And that's what this process is, the truth-seeking process, where we have subpoena power to find out what these people knew, when they knew it, and what they did with the information that they had. And what you'll see in our complaint, what we found out already, is they knew a lot, and they did nothing. And they put good people's lives at risk unnecessarily. So thank you for shedding light on this. We hope you stick with this story. Don't leave it. There are real lives at stake here. And at this point, we'd like Alexis to come up and offer just a few words and a few thoughts.
And we will also be sending the lawsuit to all the relevant parties. So the 80-page lawsuit that Stephen Hart mentioned will be sent to you all, so you have that. And now Alexis Berry.
I just want to take the time to say thank you for everyone that has showed up today, for everyone that has remained on site and have been the comfort and has showed empathy to everyone that has been involved in this terrible situation that it's left us all in, without homes, without materials that we've worked very hard to obtain. I just want to show a lot of love and gratitude to everyone that has been the voice for us and that has given us a platform to be able to speak our piece. And then I also definitely just want to let you guys know that my wife is a very strong person, and I am too. We are each other's family, and we've been together for a very long time. This situation has shown us how strong we are together, and just not leaving each other's side. And she also just wants everyone to know that we care a lot about every single person that has been affected in this situation. And all that we want is just accountability, to be able to have closure and to know why this happened and to be able to move forward with our lives. We definitely, most importantly, want you guys to know that we are not victims to the situation. We are survivors.
Yeah.
And I just...
Yes, survivors. Yes, baby.
I'm so sorry to everyone that has just been affected to this, and I want to send love to those families that have loved ones that are not coming home. And just know that you guys are loved, and thank you all for coming together and as a community and as a whole, and being able to just show us a love that we never even knew existed, and to just to have a community backing us up in this situation is just, it's giving us the support and to be able to cope with everything that's going on, and we just want to start the healing process and move forward, and like I've said before, life is an amazing gift, and just live it to the fullest, and all you can do is live with no regrets, and that's what we're doing. Everything is for a reason, and as tragic as this is, we aren't backing down, and we're going to stand our ground, and we will prevail in this situation.
Well said, baby.
So next you're going to hear from a national civil rights advocate, the executive director of Tree of Life Justice League, the American activist, Eric Russell.
The first thing that I would like to do is just to thank God for his grace that he showed Peach. But let me be clear, there is some real anger and there's some real outrage here, because this is more than just the tragic scene of a collapse. Also, we are at a crime scene. This is a crime scene. Robert Wall, this notorious slumlord. I have no other euphemisms for a slumlord. Anytime someone chooses profit over people, that is a crime. That is a crime against humanity. Right now, Peach is struggling for her very life as a result of notorious slumlord caring more about money than the sanctity of life. We are outraged. Even there are so many people that fail Peach. There are so many people that fail the residents of this building. We have inspectors who turned a blind eye. That is criminal. When you look the other way and when you know the possibility of peril and death is imminent, that is criminal. These inspectors, they should not be allowed to examine the structural integrity of a chicken coop. This sort of gross incompetence causes pain and suffering. The utter lack of leadership of Mad Mike, the mayor of this city, he failed us. He failed this city. And I suggest to you, dear brothers and sisters, there is some sort of evil cabal here. One must ask themselves some very basic questions. How does a building back in 1999 scheduled for demolition all of a sudden gets a facelift and a Band-Aid put on it, and now it's worth $4.2 million? How does that happen? How does you constantly ignore as a father? And let me share with you where my outrage comes from. Beyond the lack of leadership of Mad Mike Matson, the mayor, who failed us, beyond the incompetence of inspectors who didn't do their job, as a father, I can tell you, when I close my eyes, can you imagine Peach falling from depths in the darkness with cries for help, with water rushing over her, the smell of gas, the horror? That is inhumane. That is what Robert Wall did. He took her dream and turned it into a nightmare. And I dare say to you, that is criminal. Some working class people deserve to be treated with a certain amount of dignity and respect. Why must it always be the poor and the working poor? People choose to look the other way. I submit to you that this is more than just a scene of a tragic collapse. It would be proper for the Attorney General, for the Chief Executive Officer of this city and state to file criminal charges against Robert Wall, because what he did was criminal. When you put money before people's very lives, that is inhumane. That is indespicable. And when you have so many people look the other way, it is a sad day. And I thank God that Peach was very strong, because so many people would have given up. But that day was not her great getting up in the morning day. God seemed fit to prolong her life. And we will cry justice for Peach, because right now she's unable to speak. All power to the people.
Thanks, Eric. So, thank you, Eric. Steve, what we're going to do now is Lexis is going to take a few questions. Stephen and I will address any legal issues, and then we're going to go back to see Peach. So if there's any questions for Lexis, please. And if there are not any questions for anyone, we can end our press conference. Go ahead.
When you say you seek justice, what does that look like to you?
Go ahead, Lexis.
To me, justice is everyone that is involved, every single person that is involved and that knew about the situation, that was aware of it, is held accountable because of the outcome that it is. And it's a ripple effect, and it's affected so many people. It's affected lives within the building, the businesses that surround this building, other residents that lived in this area that had to be evacuated as well. They all deserve justice, and they don't deserve to be lifted out of their home overnight just because of greed.
What was it like living in the building before the collapse?
It was one of the situations where, to the eye, your apartment looked very nice, updates, stainless steel, everything. But underneath the surface, you knew that there were issues, such things as the basic necessities not working, management not wanting to come and fix things appropriately, a lot of back and forth. You felt like you were begging to get the simplest things in your apartment fixed or updated. It was not a pleasure living in those apartments.
It was fool's gold. Fool's gold.
Can you walk us through the time from what you were doing right before it collapsed until maybe the next morning?
It was just a normal Sunday. I actually got up to go to work. I actually got off work a little bit early just because business was a little bit slower that day. Went home. I called my wife Peach, told her I was home. We were downstairs. I got packages for her, brought them up to the door. We even got groceries delivered. We were planning to cook dinner that night, being it was a holiday weekend. Within the hour of us having those groceries delivered, putting them away, spending time with our 2 cats, our whole world just shifted in the matter of seconds. Literally seconds. I blinked and everything was different.
What's it feel like being back down here?
It can be overwhelming, but in situations like this, it's good to stand your ground and fight those fears and not be afraid of what happened, but take it head on and acknowledge what happened and figure out how to move forward and how to continue your life, because no one's life deserves to be uprooted. And I will not let this haunt me. If anything, I'm going to come out stronger than I was before.
Yeah.
Yes.
Go ahead. Any more questions for Alexis? Go ahead.
How long were you a resident?
Exactly 1 year.
Are you and other residents getting support? Obviously, all of your material things are left. Are you doing about that?
We have had a lot of support from Red Cross. Super thankful for them to be able to set up events, to have things donated, and to provide meals for people, and hygiene products and clothes and gift cards, so people then kind of try to pick up where they left off, even though it's really impossible to do that right now. So I do commend Red Cross for having those things in line to help the residents and everyone that was affected.
And there's also a GoFundMe that has been started to help with Peach's medical expenses. So we'll make those links available.
So, other than sending you all the lawsuit, anything else?
That's
What are some of your concerns for founding housing in the future?
Our whole lives have changed, and as far as housing, there's going to come with a lot of trauma. As far as we will never live in an apartment building again. I don't feel safe being too high up off the ground. Having a house that is accessible to her due to her needs, due to her going to have to be in a wheelchair for a while until she is able to walk again, her having prosthetics, and so it's going to be a challenge, but it's a challenge that we're ready to take on to reclaim our lives.
Have you been able to find your 2 cats yet?
So we have 2 cats. We had a 2-month-old that she actually surprised me with 2 weeks prior to this happening, and then we had our almost 5-year-old Marley that we had for about 4 years. For 5 days, we were in the dark thinking that we didn't have them, and they didn't make it. Friday, Humane Society actually contacted me and said that they found King, which is our 2-month-old kitten, but our 4-year-old, almost 5-year-old cat, Marley, who we've had for 4 years, is missing, and it's a possibility that he didn't make it, and that's our family, and it's going to be hard trying to move forward, just knowing that things are going to be different, and to not have him, because he's been a big part of our lives and transitions, and a lot of therapy for us as well. And he is just such a sweetheart, such a light, and I know he'll always be with us, but it's just really sad that he also didn't deserve that.
Are there any concerns with the demolition permit being in the works that they're probably stopping or tearing down the
As a lawyer,
Go ahead, Steven's going to take that question.
Okay, can you repeat the question, please?
Is there any concerns with the demolition permits being in the work of tearing down a potential crime scene?
Yes.
Well, I mean, look, there's a lot of evidence that's left behind, and we've gathered a lot of it. There's a lot more that needs to be done. That was one of the reasons why we felt it was important to get a lawsuit on file so quickly. We intend to seek preservation of all available evidence, all physical evidence, all electronic evidence, witnesses. And so, yes, we're extremely concerned about it. We're also concerned as to why the mayor felt it was appropriate to seek to demolish the building within hours of the event, which he knew full well would result in the loss of valuable information, knowledge, and evidence. So thank you for the question.
You said a minute ago that you had already uncovered a lot of evidence in your preliminary look at this. Can you be a little more specific about what you found and what kind of conclusions?
This building had changed hands several times. And what we found is when it was converted to an apartment building back in the 60s, it was essentially neglected for decades. And then in 1999, it was condemned, essentially, given to a demolition, Davenport demolition. The value of the property was $100,000. Then it had a series of owners. And those owners, as far as we can tell, put little to no capital into the building. They essentially shoved people into a building that was ignored and dilapidated. We have structural steel experts. We've got building forensic experts. We've got brick and mortar experts. This building was constructed over a century ago. It obviously didn't have modern techniques. It did not take a certified engineer to identify obvious concerns with the building over time. We've got historic photographs of the building. We know that it exhibited signs of serious decay. We also know that the internal structures of the building were denigrating and becoming worse over time, including the foundation and the roof. We also know that there was many city officials in this building over the past 12 months and 24 months and years who failed to do their job. We know that there was multiple contractors, from structural engineers to masonry contractors to others, that failed to sufficiently first repair the structural issues with it, but also notify the people that were living there that the building was not habitable. At the end of the day, it's very clear from the evidence that we've been able to amass is this: no one should have been living in this building. They shouldn't have been charging rent to live in this building. It was a risk. And what they did was, the defendants in this case, the owners, the property managers, the investment bankers, the people that were charged with the responsibility of making sure this building was kept up when they offered it to individuals to live there, they really failed in that obligation drastically. I just want to point one more thing out. Sorry for the long-winded answer, but that was a loaded one. We've not only alleged negligence of all of these defendants, but we've also alleged punitive damages for their willful and wanton actions and inactions, their conscious disregard for safety. I don't think anybody looking at this situation would suggest that these people not only didn't act reasonably, but they didn't have the knowledge and the intent, and were offering this place for rent knowing that they were putting people's lives at risk. They had to have.
Mr. Hart, since civil cases optimistically could take years to go anywhere, what can we do for the clients right now? What can this offer them immediately?
Great question. I'm going to let Andrew take that.
Well, the first thing we're going to say, listen, our focus is on Peach. Our focus is getting her the best medical attention, rehab, prosthetic, and handling her needs. The legal case will run its course. We've got an aggressive team of lawyers, we've got a comprehensive team of experts, and we will advance the litigation process. But as Mr. Hart said, the lawsuit is on file. Discovery has started. We can issue subpoenas. We've already uncovered a lot of very damaging information, and we're going to get more through the discovery process.
And just to give you a practical example, how bad does a building have to be in disrepair where the annual elevator report, they express reservations about coming over and inspecting the elevator? When your elevator examiner says they're reluctant to come, isn't this building torn down by now? How in disrepair must a building be when the elevator inspector is reluctant about doing an annual elevator report?
We thank everyone for their time today. This story is just starting. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Could we get the name and spelling and all
Yeah.
that stuff, please?
Yeah, of course. It's Stephen, S-T-E-V-E-N.
V-E-N, okay.
Last name, H-A-R-T.
Okay.
The law firm is Hart. McLaughlin, M-C, capital L-A-U-G-H.